pros back out again, burning on Rosie again. Once they're packed up and done, I'll show y'all what had to happen. Uh-oh. This is really shitty. I hope that's just a fitting and not a whole part of that pump. Well, Rosie's down, and it's pretty easy to see why. This is a combination of problems. One is I've spun around a time or two and hit a tree hard. Now, when I bought the machine, this dent was already here, but I think I have increased it a couple of times. I didn't do that just now. I haven't hit any trees today with the side panel. I bumped one with the back. Anyway, this frame has gotten bent in. The door got bent in, and it was pressing against this fitting. I didn't realize it. I never noticed it. You shut the door, you don't see it. But I guess it finally had enough. This frame must have moved a little bit today or something somehow just now. I was trying to pull a tree backwards. And I don't know if me trying to rotate the body of the machine just put just the right stress on it or what, but all of a sudden my hydraulics quit, totally dead. I was like, whoa, 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 you know, I was like, I mean, it was like you took out the master control or master valve. I turned the key on and off and I fidgeted with that control and then it started working again. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go back to work, and then it quit again. So I jumped out of the machine thinking maybe I was low on oil for some reason, which usually you're low on oil when you have a leak, and voila, I see it pouring out the door on the track. So took a couple pictures, sent them to my hydraulic pump. All right, so pulled the bolts out of there, and we'll just slip this out. Ooh. Ooh. Pretty. Pretty, pretty. So yeah, this is just a little gear pump, and it just so happens it's the gear pump that runs my pilot controls. So it makes sense why my pilot controls quit working. And you can see where the fitting busted off on the bottom because, like I said, this has been getting bent in for years. I backed up and bumped that little tree right there beside my truck. I didn't even feel it. Like, I wasn't, my wife, of course, you were driving like a joker, you know, and you going too fast. I said, no, I didn't even feel it bump the tree. Like, I was not spinning around fast. But anyway, I just backed up a little further than I thought I had, and the tree was there. So it finally was the last straw. Bent it in one time too many, and when it did, it pressed against this hydraulic line, which this is the oil supply to the gear pump, and basically just, I think, tugged it down. I don't think it may have pressed against the fitting a little bit, but I think more than anything, this hose was kind of down in that wedge in the frame, and I think it jerked that hose down, and so when it did, it just busted. You can see it just looks like cast. Maybe cast aluminum, but anyway, just busted it clean out of there. So we're gonna take this to the shop. He said it's super common. He probably has one on the shelf. If not, he better get one tomorrow. And I'm gonna have him make me a little short hose for that. Stand that up a little taller so it doesn't sit there and keep draining the tank. I'm gonna have him make me, like, you know, a 1 or 2 foot extension on this hose, and that way we can kind of twist that hose back into the cab, back into the body a little bit, so it's not right here in that wedge. Now, I've also called my neighbor Kevin, that you know, him and his brother's a welder. They fixed up my thumb the other day, and I'm gonna have them come look at it and see about taking this whole piece of the frame right here out, and, you know, either bending it back straight and welding it back up, or just, you know, replacing it with a piece of channel, because I need to get that fixed. I need to get my door fixed and stop farting around with having this thing. I mean, that's just stupid, have something like that break. But anyway, we're gonna head into town and see about getting at least this part replaced. So I've got my welding boys back out here working today. Welding men, I should say. I made a little video the other day when they were working on my thumb here, so I was just gonna show you guys what they had to do on that. It actually broke 2 welds. First, up here where that round pipe goes into that square brace, it was just tack welded. It's been tack welded ever since I owned it. And this thumb, really, that brace is never in tension. I mean, right now it's in tension because it's hanging out. But for the most part, when you're using your thumb, you're squeezing against it, and so that brace is in compression. But it finally busted the other day, and they came by and you know, burned these bigger welds on it, and I went back to work the next day. That afternoon, actually, I went back to work that afternoon for just a minute, and this pad eye here broke off again. So that pad eye on the right, that's the one that broke when I was on Ryan's job. And I had him fix it once. This guy here, I dug a pond for him, and then as for 1 hour of work on his pond, he did this welding repair. Well, he just burned just one weld on the outside, and it busted. So he came back with reinforcements, and they welded the dog crap out of it. So it's holding now. It's looking a lot better. But now I got them cutting on the frame of the machine where I was swung around and hit trees too many times. They're going to beef that up for me, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit. Put the fire up. Well, I don't think I ever did a final video here for the repairs on Rosie, but I'll put both these in the same video because it was part of the same stupid mistake. Let me open my door up there that doesn't latch. So here's our new pump put on, and here's our new bumper. So the pump, nothing to it. You know, it was just the 4 bolts on and off, 2 hoses. That was easy enough. I had to get it next day. Ordered it, you know, that day, and it came in the next day. The shop I called, he said he thought he had it, and then when I brought mine down there to match it up, it was a little bit different. So he ordered one, had it the next day, no problem. This is what actually caused the problem. Spun around, hit a tree, one time too many. This whole piece of the frame buckled in, and when it did, it actually grabbed this hose. It didn't actually hit the pump. It grabbed this hose and jerked it down and snapped that fitting out. So, in order to make sure that never happens again, ideally, which with any luck I never hit a tree again anyway, but just in case I do, we now have a solid steel bumper here, where it used to be this kind of just thin, stupid shape. I don't know what you call it. It's not really channel, but it's really, really thin metal. We replaced that with, this is a piece of, I think 4x4 angle. And then this was a piece of, I think, 3-inch channel that we set inside of it. So we sort of recreated the profile, other than you know, it's square and it doesn't have that nice, pretty round shape to it. But it'll work. Old excavators were all square anyway. I don't mind it. It's not pretty, but like I said, by God, it'll work. So I just want to show that to you guys. So you know, the welding repairs on Rosie, man, there was kind of a rash. You know, we had, when the thumb had broke on Ryan's job, you know, that was months ago. Then I'd had Kevin, who was a pond client, I gave him an hour of free work, and he had welded the pad eye back on, but he didn't do a very good job. So I got down here to, let's see, I started working on Juan's job, and first the brace broke at the top, and so they came by and they welded all that up, no big deal. And then went back to work and worked for, I think, the next day or so, and then that pad eye broke again. And so they came back by and they spent a whole bunch more time on that pad eye, really welded it up tight. Then I jumped down the road to what's going to be an RV park, did that little easement clearing, and cleared out, you know, the dead standing pines, stuff like that, just did some basic cleanup work for them. And then that's when I bumped the tree and caved the frame in, so we did that welding repair and did the pump also. So yeah, just a kind of a rash of bad luck and a bunch of broken welds, but they're all fixed up now and probably better than they were.